Bygones Part 6. How? I Spy Books, The Little White Dot on the Television, and Moonwalking. Bygone number 1. How? How?
How, a programme which appeared on the electric television throughout the 1960s, was unique in that it failed on all counts to fulfil any of the IBA's criteria for children's programming.
All children's programming throughout the 1960s must be both educational and entertaining.
How was presented by 4 oddballs. Ow! A cub reporter called Fred Dinage, who, let's face it, has never quite made it. Have you, Fred? No. A Unistubbs lookalike called Marion Davis, who replaced the outsized Bunty after she grew too large to fit on the screen. Jack Hargreaves, who spent the last 30 years pretending to be a rustic nonagenarian, and by the way was also on the board of directors of Southern Television. And a highly embarrassed academic from the University of Southampton, who obviously had come to rue the day he ever met a children's producer from Southern Television. And what the hell am I doing on this programme anyway?
Now, if you'll do Napoleon, John, I'll do Wellington if you can't see my boots.
That's a lovely big ruby you've got there. You've come out badly there, Jack. It's absolute stalemate.
Nothing's happening. This is a one-up.
It was a decade of dialogue like this that we believe brought Southern Television to its knees in the 1970s.
Bygone number 2. Old-fashioned I Spy Books. Old-fashioned I Spy Books.
Sixpence from all reasonable newsagents, I Spy Books were loosely based on the eponymous so-called boredom-beating in-car game. Nearly there, children.
Ooh, I spy with my little eyes, something beginning with.
The idea of these books was to award yourself points for spotting real-life examples of the illustrations contained therein. Once you'd completed a volume, you were invited to return it to the Big Chief, who probably spent his time rubbing out the ticks and reselling the books, but who did in turn send a certificate saying, well done, in a mass-produced form letter sort of a way. Premise number 1. I Spy Books typically ask their 11-year-old readers to locate such everyday items as an original set of Renaissance crumhorns, or a spong ratchet from a 10667 Kinsey model of an early 20th century retrograde seed drill. Premise number 2. Scrupulously honest for the first 2 pages of the book, the reader would soon feel demoralized at the impossibility of finding, for instance, a medieval Byzantine cathedral ogive in their local environs such as Ripple Road, Dagenham. This feeling of betrayal amongst working-class children led to cheating on a massive scale.
Yes, I've got it. Yes, 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 I've got it. Yes, yes, I've got that. Yes, yes, I've got that as well. Yes, I've got that. Yes, yes.
Conclusion, children frequently lay awake all night pissing themselves and in a cold sweat, fearing a visit from the Big Chief I Spy, who might knock at their bedroom door at any moment, demanding to know in which particular Dagenham Street they had seen the internal thrust sprocket from the Sputnik 2. In fact, all that happened was that Big Chief I Spy sent a well-done certificate all the same, leading the nation's youth to conclude that the only sight the great man was really interested in was a great pile of 2- and 6-penny postal orders made payable to Big Chief I Spy.
Bygone television logo of the week. Bygone number 3. The Little White Dot. The Little White Dot. Well, it's 7:30 and you must all go to bed now because this is 1950s and we can't have the working classes staying up late and using up valuable electricity that the toffs need so they can dance the night away. Good night and God bless you all.
Ever since the advent of the transistor, TV screens, when switched off, go completely blank. In the 1950s, the picture, as you can see, would condense into a little white dot in the center of the screen. During rationing, this dot was relished and considered a great delicacy.
A succulent morsel and high in protein too, Mum. Unfortunately, vulgar working-class kiddies would go scrumping their little white dots in mid-afternoon before they'd been completely ripened by a full day's wholesome programming. And suffer severe tummy ache. And quite right, too. They'd been naughty.
Yes, they had indeed been naughty.
Bygone number 4. Moonwalking 1 and 2. Moonwalking number 1.
Let's step off the limb now. It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
This session of moonwalking cost $800 billion, and the only practical benefit was this: the non-stick saucepan. On the other hand, this session of plastic surgery cost only $8 million, but the only practical benefit was something even more useless. Several thousand vacuous, imbecilic youths simulating epileptic fits while seemingly travelling up a down escalator.